Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio. In a nice turn of events tonight, I'm your host, Angela Rose, and I am joined in the co-host beats by Doug Engler
Hello, everyone.
and Darren Sterling.
Sterling. Okay, I'll take another new name. My work misspelled it in the email, so I guess I can call myself Sterling.
Eh.
You're
Um,
sterling because you shine bright like a diamond.
I was hoping for a bar of silver, but
well, on that note, how's everybody doing this evening?
I'm doing all right. I'm on the road, which is why no camera tonight. I'm in a hotel in New Jersey, and train goes back out at think about midnight tonight.
Sounds like fun. But yeah, Ross, it's good to be back. Last week I had some minor non-life threatening just health stuff come up and ended up in bed nice and early.
Yeah, it's great to
So
see everyone in the chat. I hope you all had a wonderful week.
hopefully everybody is doing as well as can be given some of the lovely weather we've been having, especially up here in the frozen north.
about to say, but did y'all actually see any snow out of that system? Because for once we did.
We got about an inch and a half, 2 inches.
Wow, so we got more down here than y'all did.
I didn't get snow after Saturday. I got just cold.
Lovely. Because what
We're gonna get in
happened
the
for
50s.
Because what happened for us was Wednesday, it started off as snow, then it went sleet, freezing rain, then back to snow, then sleet, then back to snow for the rest of the time. So it was enough to make the roads an icy mess the next morning. And then around 8 o'clock that next morning, a second band of snow, which is almost unheard of for us, came through and recoated some areas. And the only sad part was that the temperatures had started to warm up, so it 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 only stuck in certain areas because some areas got like an additional inch of snow on top of what had just fallen.
Yep. Yeah, see, we just still have snow on the ground because for the past week it didn't get above it didn't get above like 25 the whole week.
Well, that's how it was leading up to our last snow. We had nothing but cold temperatures the whole time, but unfortunately, it didn't do jack for us. And then, of course, it warmed up the next couple days.
Yeah, warm. What's that? It's according to my phone, it is 35 degrees out, and that's warm.
It's 44 here, and the high that we're supposed to have this week, 71 on Tuesday and 73 on Thursday, and just 2 nights ago, our low was 18.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tomorrow our high is 44, and that's like the highest we've seen. Yeah, that's warm.
Yeah, today's high was like 47. Tomorrow, looking at 49, 51, 55 for Thursday and rain. So,
You got rain on Thursday too?
yeah.
Well, we do share systems, so I'm kind of not
Yeah,
surprised.
Thursday it looks like we've got scattered showers as well. And then next Saturday it's supposed to snow.
Yeah, I
Next
got
Saturday is
Midseason,
clear
so,
for us so far.
welcome to the Weather Channel. Always.
Pretty much. Because that snow determines how much anime I watch to an extent because I can't do anything in the snow. I'm not a snowplower, and it very rarely snows here enough where I can actually justify snowplow equipment.
Plus,
and
I don't know where you'd put it.
and it and but yeah, no. Crap weather means caught up on anime, and we are bringing this full circle and back to some level of anime. Who's caught up on what?
Doug, you first.
Well, I caught up. Um, Well, first shows that I have dropped. I have dropped Honey Lemon Soda, and I dropped that one about. I wish I could understand the Okinawan girl. Um, my wife also got tired of the elf girl's cat as a S rank behemoth. She just kind of got fed up with everybody who wants to mate with a cat. Um, it's got the storyline hasn't been horrible. I was 2 episodes behind. I caught up on that last night. It's been entertaining, but some secrets have come out in the most recent episode. So that made it kind of interesting. Some stuff came out that I wasn't expecting, which, let's be honest, I kind of like that in shows. When you watch a ton of anime like we all do, you see a lot of repetitive tropes, and you can kind of get a basic idea of where a storyline is going. So when you can find a show that drops a bombshell that you weren't expecting, that gets some higher ranks in my mind. Um, I will still stand by. I think my favorite show of the season is Apothecary Diaries. The most recent episode was fantastic,
Yes, yes, it was.
and I had like the stupid moment in it because at the beginning it gave you information that didn't register in my mind until the end of the episode. It was like, oh wait, he's really his brother.
Yep. And I don't know, and Mao Mao not knowing anything, trying to piece things together from the balcony thing was just fantastic.
And it was interesting to see how they were able to incorporate different kinds of color blindness,
Yep.
especially where there's a bunch of gaming YouTubers that I watch that are colorblind. I think one is blue green colorblind and one is red colorblind.
I there is also one that's like brown gray as well. But but yeah, no, that was fantastic.
Let's see, what else have I been watching? Middle-aged Salaryman. That's been a fun watch. Just kind of like some of the shows that I'm watching are just mindless entertainment, very far-fetched ideas, but kind of neat to see how everything comes together. And welcome. Oh, I'm behind on Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf. Well, I don't think I watched the latest episode of that.
Yep. And Ross is sharing where he is. The weather has been nice and warm, relatively speaking. And hello to you too, John. Good to see you. Good to be back.
And everybody was worried about you last week. So we talked all the smack we could.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'd expect nothing less. I mean,
Told
I mean,
everybody that your favorite show was Vending Machine,
And that Conception was actually worth watching, and that everybody should go check out what was the Interspecies Reviewers.
to be fair,
Cool Day.
only one of those statements is even remotely close to accurate.
What, everyone should check out Interspecies Reviewers?
We started watching it, and it's actually entertaining. For those of a certain mindset or humor, yes, actually,
Wait, you started Interspecies Reviewers?
yeah, a while ago.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I did not think that was a show that you would watch.
That was something husband and I started watching together, and it is entertaining.
It is.
Good is pushing it, but it is entertaining, and we're actually at some point going to finish it.
Well, to be fair, there was only one bad episode in the whole stretch of them.
Yeah, the Harpy.
Yes.
And
I was.
Ross says last week you guys talked about pink and red haired characters.
We did. We went on
We
like an
did.
hour and 20-minute thing about pink-haired characters because it was the weekend of Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
And what about you, Darren? What shows have you been watching and keeping up with?
I am behind on several, unfortunately. I am behind on the Sakamoto Days. I am behind on I fell in love at work, or I have a crush at work. And I'm also behind on Madaka Kuriowa is impervious to my charms. As for being caught up on, give me 2 seconds. I'm switching to my tablet.
All right. John, when you watch Boy and the Heron, let me know what you think because I absolutely loved that movie. It was fantastic.
I hate it when it does that, even though I literally had already closed it out like 10 seconds prior.
It- technology, gotta love it.
But also caught up on I'm behind on 100 Girlfriends only because of today's episode. Doug, I was very impressed with the Super Saiyan um, reference, and that whole episode was just fun. Because let's be honest, that's all 100 Girlfriends is fun for the fact that he is managing to entertain all these girls. And so far, no one has managed to get jealous to the point where it becomes a problem.
You said you didn't watch today's episode?
That is correct. I have not.
Okay.
So don't spoil anything.
All I'll say about today's episode is number 10 is introduced.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not really a spoiler because you already know technically who they are by the opening and the endings.
You just don't know the sequence and what their personality traits are.
Exactly. Plus, I was a little. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little surprised with the maid, and the only reason I say that is because she didn't click like all the others did. So that made me curious. You know?
I think of the girls that he has so far, the one I like the most is the athlete.
I mean, I like her too, but of course I like my Kusari. Her adult form is
So, did either or both of you watch the most recent episode of The Receptionist?
I didn't hear what you said.
Guild Receptionist.
Oh yes. Threatening to murder someone over ruining a festival.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. I've still been enjoying it. I still put her in the running for best girl of the season.
I can agree to that because her personality is finally starting to show and it's adorable.
a part of me wants to give that to Mao Mao, but you know.
Well, Mama's up there as well. That's what I said. That's why I said she's in the running. I put Mama up there as well.
Personally, my still current favorite is Akane from The Girl I Hate.
But yeah, no, we caught up on Guild Receptionist, caught up on Sakamoto Days. Darren, I gotta give you credit for actually mentioning that one to me, because I missed it. Because I would have missed it otherwise.
Well, you know what's kind of funny? You know who I really have to thank for watching it?
Who?
Netflix. And I don't even have Netflix. It's somehow some clips from the trailer were dropped into my newsreel, and it got me to actually watch the trailer. And I'm like, okay, holy crap, this actually looks like it could be good. I even got one of my friends who's not an anime person, but has watched anime in the past to watch it. Oh, and while I'm on this topic, he watched something else on Netflix that surprised me. And it's one show that you watched, Ange, that you actually said was pretty good.
What show?
The live action One Piece.
Yup.
And
I,
that
I
shocked me.
I maintain even if you don't like anime, the live action One Piece was so well done that if you take it as a standalone as is, it's fantastic.
And he agreed with you because, like I said, he has watched all of the Dragon Ball series. He has watched a couple of other anime like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, that kind of thing. But he's never really watched anime. But he actually said he watched the first 2 episodes that were released on Netflix when it came out and actually said it was good.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no.
well, good. I'm introducing you to anime that you actually like. I'm proud of myself.
Yep. And Ross says his favorite girl from the season is still Yuri from Appraisal Skill Better Girl Than parentheses or fighting words, Skilled Receptionist, and Girl I Hate shows I'm not watching.
Really? Well,
I we can all agree to disagree on Best Girl.
yeah.
I will say I've been the getting married to a girl I hate has been very entertaining, and I like the twist that they threw in on that one, on the most recent episode. You
I
said you
was
were
about
caught
to
up on that
ask
one,
if
dude?
you've watched it.
Yeah. What do you think of the little sister?
Uh, I'm a little disappointed she's stronger than Shisei because I was hoping Shisei would get in there and actually set her straight, but nope. Shisei got caught up in her antics as well.
I'm curious to somehow I feel like he's gonna reject it and want to stay with Chise.
I don't think so. But my theory regarding his little sister, her little sister is not one I hope to happen, but I'm getting the feeling that this could be another what show am I thinking of? Your Lie in April kind of deal with her sister. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but
Oh
just
yeah, where she's had health issues and may end up passing away or something.
uh-huh.
Would you be kind enough to refill my water?
No.
No.
On that note, my happy marriage. How we on that one?
I think I'm one episode behind. Might be caught up. That's one that I watch it when I'm home with the wife. I don't like she'll watch it ahead and then I'll watch it with her.
I
Um,
watched episode 7 this week. I don't know if episode 8 is up or not.
the last episode I saw, they had the fight with the guy claiming to be her father and like her friend in the military there. The girl was and like they were having a New Year's party and the girl was saying goodbye to the main character.
Okay, then you're at least one episode behind.
It hasn't, for whatever reason, it hasn't drawn me in.
I know what you mean.
Like, I know my wife really enjoys it. I enjoy watching it with her, but I don't think it's a show that I would have continued on my own.
I see. No, I get what you mean. It definitely
It's like
has a
doing this
different.
against like Apothecary Diaries.
It definitely does have a different feel this season than last. And Ross says in the chat, sorry to tell y'all, but My Dress Up Darling is ending next month, and that is the manga.
Yep. But hey, we're still getting a season 2.
Excellent.
And Freerun news, Freerun is going to be on Netflix. And
I
season
did see
2
that.
for Freerun, season 2 for Freerun 2026.
I did
And
see that
having-
Free Run's coming soon to Netflix.
And having continued the manga, I'm on volume 9. It's beyond where season 1 went. It feels like the story's just going to continue at the same pace that season 1 did, but there's some really interesting things that have happened. So I'm intrigued to see how they put it from book form to animation.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Actually reading Black Clover, because way too many episodes at this point to actually try to watch. And reading it, well, I can read a chapter.
How far along are you now?
Right around chapter 140.
Okay. Rough event timeline. What's going on?
They just the tournament to determine who was going to be part of the special team finished, and now they're off. They went off to the headquarters or the hideaway of the big bad guy.
Which was which one? Which big bad guy?
Oh God.
Licked.
Looking that up because I don't remember.
And hello, Shark in the chat.
By
Great
the
to
way,
see you. I hope you're having a great weekend.
Have you met Mara Leona yet? Or is
Yes.
it about to say, what do you think?
At least if it's who I think it is.
The sister of the captain of the Crimson Lions.
Yeah, no, she's hilarious.
Yep. You need to see the animated clips with her, because Yami walks in. She's like, "Hey, there's a wild animal on the loose. Take cover. This is not a drill." And then she just pounds him into the ground.
Yep.
John Knight in the chat says that he's watched Guild Receptionist episode 4 dub, Zenshu episode 7 dub, Headhunted to Another World episodes 5 and 6 dub, and Apothecary Diary season 2 episode 4 dub.
Eye of the Midnight Sun.
Okay, so you're around Licked, and the other two. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. The elves.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, they're just starting to fight Eye of the Midnight Sun, and
yeah, that I will admit, that is a sad backstory there. Just saying. Oh wait, there's 4 of them total. There's Lick, and then there's 3 others.
Yep. Sharka, I too have been enjoying Zenshu. Justice is awesome. Oh, shut up. My husband is taunting me because I gave him crap because when we put that on the list, I assumed it was going to be a very stereotypical isekai. And I didn't think I would like it, and I'm actually liking it a lot.
Wow.
Isekai is making its way into Angela's life.
We may convert her yet.
No, you won't. One that doesn't feel like an isekai and has a good studio is what it will take to get me to watch it.
I'm also Meet Kunoichi. I think I'm maybe 1 episode behind on that. I don't remember. And Life of the Amagami Sister. What do you think of that one, Doug? Are you caught up on that?
I believe I'm caught up on that. That seems it's getting weird, where it seems like the spirit is toying with him, especially with the body swapping episode. It just
Mm,
really was kind of
it gave, it gave me
different.
your name. It
Grifters.
gave me your name vibes in the beginning, but now the fact that she's doing it willingly is starting to be. I agree.
Although it was kind of funny, them switching bodies and him trying to figure out how to put a bra on.
Yeah, that was. He's like, really? Now you? This is when you decide to switch?
Yeah.
But in knowing full well she did that on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Well, all right.
And was there anything else I was watching?
And the best friend there, she's sharper than she lets on.
Yeah.
But isn't that
Well,
always the case?
I've noticed a lot of times the best friend of these girls is always sharper than what they appear to be, because that's been the case with every single best friend. First with the older sister, then with the younger sister, and now with the middle sister.
And it still doesn't like lead you any which way as to who he's actually going to choose.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think the middle sister is going to win, but it seems like the path that he's been going on, it hasn't shown a clear winner yet.
Yeah. And
From
Ross, we knew that a long time ago. At least I did. Besides, probably the biggest surprise for me, even though it makes sense, was that all three of the girls were adopted. That none of them were her biological children.
Yeah.
But I guess it kind of makes sense considering shrine maidens. I don't know the rules and regulations behind them, but I'm fairly certain they can't have families. I don't know.
I don't know a lot about shrine maidens or the history of shrines and stuff either. I think Angela might have more knowledge than us, having been to Japan. When you've gone to Japan, have you gone to the shrines and prayed or any of that?
Oh yeah, we've definitely done some shrines and temples. It is a very spiritual experience, and also we did one of them. We did the Fushimi Inari Shrine at night because we didn't want to deal with, because that's one of the more popular ones. We didn't want to deal with overcrowding.
Well, it's understandable.
Um, from when you went to these shrines in Japan, what was the makeup of the crowd? Was it predominantly Japanese with some tourists, or predominantly tourists with some Japanese, or about an even split?
It depends. Yes, is the short answer. The more publicly known shrines, the larger, the more popular ones, there was definitely closer to 50-50. There were definitely a lot more tourists than I was expecting. Some of the lesser known ones, definitely fewer tourists.
That would make sense. Unless the tourists were well versed and knew where to go.
Bingo. And we actually did our research about which shrines to go to when.
Gotcha.
Oh, Ange, did you
Said
hear
it.
that?
I don't know.
One Piece is going to be doing a thing with the Red Sox again this year.
Yep. And there's all sorts. So is Hello Kitty.
Hel- Hello Kitty. I keep forgetting, honestly, just how big the Hello Kitty franchise is. It not that well. I mean, there's a hop, skip, and a jump away from the valuation of Pokemon, but Hello Kitty, numerically speaking, is not far behind Pokemon in the value as a
Because
worldwide.
because Hello Kitty is adorable and it's a mascot and everybody loves it.
And the Hello Kitty universe, that's where you have Cinema Roll and a few other characters from Sanrio.
Yep.
Well, and they made some was it McDonald's that did some? Yeah, it was McDonald's that did something with Sanrio and Hello Kitty lately that introduced some anime people into the Hello Kitty verse per se with the crossover with Yu-Gi-Oh and Duel Monsters.
Um, Bringing this back to the previous conversation from Ross, question for you two. How do you guys feel about finding out that Yuna never wanted to be a shrine maiden but a forensic scientist?
I wish they'd go further into the backstories of the two younger ones. We got almost the full backstory of the older one. Now, I'd really like to see the backstory. I mean, we're seeing some of it, but I want to see the backstory that led up to their mother adopting them in the first place.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know a little bit more about the situations that led them to being adopted into the shrine. As far as her wanting to be a forensic scientist, uh, part of me feels like she could still pursue that, and part of me feels like it's all going to come down to who he chooses as to
Well,
whether or not she wants to continue pursuing her dream.
I'll say this: at least the show's keeping everyone guessing.
Yeah, that like I said before, you don't have any definitive answers because it keeps giving like the option of all three of them,
Yep,
and all three of them are realizing that they are developing feelings towards him,
and you see very few shows do that anymore. Generally, it's everyone crushing on him at once, and he likes everyone at once, and he can't choose. But this one, they're slowly realizing. I don't know. It just feels like it's more well paced and written than some of these other shows. Or
it feels
it's
more
it's
realistic.
yeah, it feels more realistic than some of these other ones we've gotten so used to. Um, it's kind of sad you don't have Rent a Girlfriend to compare to because you didn't go much further into the season. Even though we're on what, season 4 now?
Something like that. And I started season 2, and it was just like, this is just getting stupid. I'm done.
And Ross continues, one episode show a vision of him being with all three in the future, but remember the title of the source is Sister No Sisters.
I remember that episode.
Yeah, and knowing that all three are adopted and they're not like blood sisters, there's no and it knowing it is anime, and I put quotations up on that. There's no saying that he wouldn't end up with all three.
Exactly.
I mean, we got Rentaro trying to get 100 girlfriends, and
Yeah.
I'd say I like the storyline with Amagi sisters better than 100 girlfriends. 100 girlfriends is just stupid entertainment.
Stupid entertainment written very, very well.
And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
And it's stupid entertainment Angela will not watch.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's not my That is not my kind of show. I have zero desire to watch it, but it has its place for people like you guys.
Maybe it's
Every
just backward.
every
Maybe it's
show's
just
got its
backward
place.
guys.
Every show has its place, and some of them are in the trash.
Mhm. Yep, but even if they're trash, that don't mean we won't watch them. That just means we'll hate on them differently.
Yeah.
And give each other crap for watching shitty isekai or overrated shonen
Or
or bad
etchy.
or bad etchy.
Well, and that's the problem. I keep reiterating this. There has not been a good etchy series in a hot minute.
That's because there's been too much isekai trash. And nothing.
I mean, even the elf girl's cat is S rank behemoth. It's got fan service in it, but it's not good fan service. It's like every episode they have to have a bathing scene with all the female characters and the cat, and it's like I don't think you really needed to put this in there as often as they do. But I think that's just the shtick of the show. Like I'm at the point of I'm like overseeing all these characters in the bath and just okay, well, what's the storyline? Is it going to be a good storyline? Is it going to be bad? Okay, the storyline's actually been pretty good, and it's been enough to keep me interested in the show, regardless of the fact that every episode you get to see boobs.
Well, and that's the problem. It caters to both sides more so now than ever.
Oi.
And because it's high dive, it's uncensored boobs.
Um. And also a question for you, Darren from Ross.
No, I'm not, Ross.
Okay.
I did not watch yesterday's episode, so I am one episode behind on that. Sorry to cut you off, Ange. I had already read it.
That's fair.
But no, go ahead and read it out to the rest of the chat. Or rest of the viewers, because that was rude of me. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Ross says, Darren, are you caught up with Ninja Need? I'm more confused about Ayami after yesterday's episode. Help clear my confusion if you can. The answer is Darren, I believe, is the only one of the three of us watching that show and is an episode behind. So we'll pin that for next week.
Yep. And maybe I'll actually be caught up on that episode once it airs next week as well.
But now I'm going to pose a theory. Do we, out of all of the anime that all of us are watching, and I extend this to the chat, well, yes, we're all saying good things about the shows we're watching, but is there much coming out these days that has the staying power that something like Cowboy Bebop or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or things like that?
I'll be honest with you. The one that I think has staying power right now is 100 Girlfriends, only because they've taken a concept that's fairly popular and pushed it to the limit to the point the constant fourth wall breaks make it relevant. Um, honestly, I would say that would be the one series I would pick out of some of the newer stuff.
I would say Apothecary Diaries has the potential of being one of those shows that's going to have longevity simply because it's a more in-depth storyline than what most anime that's out there. And I'm including all genres in that, isekai, shonen stuff. Like there's just something about the mystique of Apothecary Diaries. You've got some shonen feel to it. You've got mystery in there. You've got like almost house feel to some of the episodes with Mama's ability to deduce things.
And the and the depth with which they get into the relationships between everybody.
And I've heard multiple people who are not anime fans who were introduced to season one that got hooked on Apothecary Diary. So it's like bringing a whole new generation and a whole new, you know, audience to anime of, hey, look, it's not just for kids. This is like a more serious, more well thought out, amazing storyline. I would put the storyline up there with a lot of like the top movies even.
So basically, it's the best Chinese anime that because don't forget, it originated from a Chinese novel, or similar to a Japanese light novel, but with Chinese origins. So you would say it's the best Chinese one you've seen, or in general, it's pushing the boundaries.
I Apothecary Diaries was going to be mine as well. I would actually say broadly general because it is loosely historical based, but definitely not 100% accurate. But it also gets into some of the mysticism. It does well getting with that mix of mysticism and religion without being too much of either. On top of all the things we've already mentioned.
And it's got, you know, some politics in there as well, which you've got. It's interesting to see how they try to work around the politics of the system of the world they live
Oh my God. Now, Doug, I just thought about this, but would you throw Freerun up there as well?
I, from what I've read in the manga, I say it has the potential to be one of those top tier anime. I know that it's still really popular. One thing I like, and don't want to spoil anything for season two coming out, but one thing that I have enjoyed about getting further in the story than where season one left off, we talked a bit about the tournament arc at the end of season one, where they were all trying to become, you know, first class mages, and you are able to see Freeran, Ferns, and Stark interact with some of the mages that they were competing with, even beyond, you know, the in the northern plains where they were trying to get. So I kind of like how, even though it was like, oh, yeah, they introduced all these characters, there was some intense moments. You saw them fighting each other, you saw them all working together, um, and then they all go their separate ways. But as the story progresses, well, look, they ran into these two, or they ran into this one, and it's nice to kind of see how like we always, when we go through life, we, you know, never realize that people are put in our lives at certain times for certain reasons, and then you grow apart, and then your paths may cross years down the road. So it's kind of neat to see that in an anime form.
Uh, and from the agreed. Uh, from the chat, Ross says, I think pacing of shows are stretching too much on episodes when making anime, maybe. And then his thoughts on this question would be Hanako or My Happy Marriage.
Um, so Ross, are you saying they stretch the material too much in the episode, or they try to jam too much material into an episode? Because for years, the problems we always had was they were trying to rush an anime and put too much content too fast. So are you saying that the roles have reversed and now they're not trying, or they're putting too much context into an episode and trying to drag the series out?
I, I mean, on in that regard, we all can think of shows where it feels like, oh well, they just kind of rushed the ending. It was had good pacing at the start, and then it just felt like they rushed it. And then you have shows that feel like they just drag it out, and you're like, you put out 500 episodes, and you could have told the story in like 50.
The
Well,
last season of Attack on Titan. Enough said.
well, don't forget they did almost 20 episodes of the same fight in Dragon Ball that it realistically only lasted a span of like 10 minutes, if even.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I like about Freerun is the pacing is slow, but it stayed consistent through the whole thing, and it feels like even some of the most insignificant things that happen in the show have a deeper meaning. And I could be just reading too much into the show, but it's made me appreciate, stop and appreciate life's moments, regardless of what's going on, a little bit more, because it makes you think about, there are people that we know and that we were friends with that are no longer around, or family members that are no longer around, and you at the time that things are happening, we all tend to take them for granted. And I think that one thing I've picked up from Freer, and it might be one of the main reasons I've really really enjoyed it, is it slows it makes you slow time down a little bit and appreciate, okay, where am I at this moment? Like I say every week that I really appreciate the fans who tune in and you guys for being a part of the show and everything. And life moves fast, and Angela, one of your favorite saying is life, the universe, and everything else gets in the way, and it's
Yep.
easy to be rush 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 that you forget to stop and just appreciate the moment. And I think that's one thing that I really, really enjoy about Freerun is it's made me stop and kind of enjoy moments a bit more. I know that got a little bit deeper than people probably were thinking I would get with that, but
Yes and no.
It's very justified. That's all I gotta say.
100% agreed. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I watched an anime where I went that existential.
Mm-hmm. It's probably the last anime I watched that kind of hit home. I mean, not really, but I mean, it made me think about life in general. Was Scott's Wish, because it when it came to romance and the adolescence of having crushes and unrequited loves and all that stuff, I mean, it made you think. Um, People can say what they want about that anime. I still think every high schooler should watch it. Um,
and the reasons that I just said, that's why I think Freerun could be one that will be up there for, you know, in the ranks of Trigun and what you were saying.
well, it's still number one on my anime list. Brotherhood has not managed to catch back up. I mean, not that my anime list rankings mean anything, but I mean, it always is a decent indicator when you have that many people voicing an opinion.
No, and that's it. May not. It's not the be all and end all, but it's still a good metric for this conversation point. And other news from the chat, John Knight points out 2 days ago marked the 20th anniversary of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh, wow, I feel old. Um,
I'm still excited that I won an Avatar Last Airbender
what Avatar?
thing that was autographed at Anime Boston for I
And
think I got for $25 because nobody else bid on it.
and the other and I just got told that apparently Avatar: The Last Airbender is also getting a Magic the Gathering set at some point later this year. It it's coming. It might be next year. uh, but that's all of the nerd hobbies overlapping. And then Ross is coming, changing the topic just a little. Last Tuesday was the 10-year anniversary of the day Cowrie died in Yorla in April. all of these little trivia bits.
Yeah.
And none your business. I did not know that about Dragon Ball because that stuff aired before my time.
But yeah, I mean, there's just so much out there. I mean, I think we've gone what 3, 4 seasons without a single overlap in shows we're watching or shows we stay caught up on. And I think this season's the most overlap we've had in a long time.
It's the first season I think that we've had multiple shows that all three of us were watching.
Even if you two did drop, at least y'all started strong.
Yep.
But were you watching Apothecary Diaries, Darren, or no?
No, backlog.
No, I believe it was Guild Receptionist and Honey Lemon Soda was the ones we all started. And John Knight, have any of you been in an anime slump, meaning a period of time where someone is less interested in watching anime? Definitely. I've definitely done that. There have been seasons where quite literally, John, I only watched like a couple, like 2 shows specifically because, and I probably wouldn't have if it weren't for the show.
My wife goes through that a lot, where she's just like, I'm burned out on anime. I just want to watch other stuff. I don't like. I've found that as I've gotten older, my focus has become like more narrow. I don't have as many hobbies as I used to. Um, no, I'm working a lot. Anime, like the things I watch on TV have been anime, sports, and I got back into The Voice because I have Peacock. So I've been watching The Voice again.
Yeah, we have Paramount as opposed to Peacock, so we do keep up with The Amazing Race and Survivor for
I
our live action.
I really haven't been watching anything live action, or reality TV or any kind of competitions because I barely have time to sit in front of a computer and watch anime, let alone time to sit in front of the TV.
No, I do. I go in cycles where I do a lot of sports, and then I get annoyed with sports, and then I don't watch them, and then I miss them. Rinse, repeat.
I mean, I've gotten back, like the last few years, I've really gotten back into NASCAR heavier and heavier. And like, I'm almost back to the point I was in high school where, like, I didn't want to miss a race. I was like, had a ton of information about cars and drivers and things like that. So the love of auto racing never fully left me. I just didn't have the chance to watch it as often as I do, thanks to my brother-in-law sending me a link to where I can watch like every NASCAR race, whether it's on TV or if I'm like at a hotel and they don't have CW, I can still watch the Xfinity series, or I can watch a Truck Series race. And if I miss races, I can go on YouTube and watch the highlights and get the important moments from races, and still keep up on what's going on.
Yeah, no, for me, the same thing is with baseball. Growing up, high school through college, that was me. And then I fell off it for a while because, well, just things, different reasons, and now
Roberto,
I'm actually paying attention to spring training.
I've been seeing like news blurbs through social media about Red Sox have made some off-season accusations and they're spending money trying to get good again.
We'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I've also been a Boston sports fan my entire life.
No, same here. It's like I don't really have a way of watching games and stuff right now, but
I have ESPN Plus as part of our Disney package, so
we dropped that. We went with the cheaper just Disney Plus and Hulu, because I really wasn't watching much of the ESPN, and the Disney Hulu stuff was more so for wife and daughter.
no, we nope. I watch enough sports I watch enough sports where it's worth it, but that's just me. And Ross answered John's question to say he had it in 2023 when the comedy anime just was not funny at all, or anime was getting less interesting to him, but kept an open mind to see if anime got better, and it did towards the end of the year.
I mean, I think that like the anime slump happens to everybody. I mean, we've talked about it on the show many times. Of there's the industry is so oversaturated that it's like it feels like they're putting shows out just to put shows out. 90% of them are not good. We'll be dead honest. 90% of these shows are not good shows. They might
There
be entertaining. They might be just like mindless, stupid entertainment, but they're not good.
and a lot there's some that are fun, some that are entertaining, and some that are downright bad.
I almost want to say anime in like the past 3 to 5 years has almost felt like gotcha, where you keep watching hoping to find the gems like Apothecary Diaries or Free Ring.
You know what? I'm gonna throw a relevant movie quote. I feel like the past few years, anime has become like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Pretty much. I
Pretty much.
mean, I know we joke a lot about vending machine, but I honestly went into that hoping it would suck so I could rip on it. And the storyline was so much better than I was expecting that I was genuinely surprised. And my wife, who does not like anime, enjoyed the show as well. So I have to give credit there of the concept was stupid, the idea was stupid. My God, how did they make it work so well? And I know, Angela, you'll never watch it on principle,
Nope.
but I
But
will still
that's
continue to
okay.
hound it.
At this point, I think that's just become a thing. But Ross says, it's like I said a long time ago, they will put multiple genre tags, but they will only focus on one genre rather than the ones the original source has.
Like school days.
And I think, I mean, now we're getting into the we're going extremely critical. And Nunya adds to Ross's comment by saying, "Well, in my opinion, some has to do with trying to chase after the last hit, both with style and plot." And not wrong. When there's so much that is so readily available, you find something that's good. You got to stick with it.
And it doesn't just happen in anime. You see it in TV shows and movies and other
Hmm.
forms of entertainment all the time. One
Mine,
thing I've noticed with anime was for a while you had a bunch of pharmaceutical animes. I think you had 3 or 4 seasons in a row that a pharmaceutical anime dropped. Then it went to cooking. You had campfire cooking in another world with my observed skill, delicious in dungeon. A bunch of food
Delicious and
based.
Dungeon so good though.
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying that you see, like, okay, well, food became popular, so let's do this one about food, this one about food, this one about food,
Oh
this
yeah.
one's about farming and farming and farming and farming.
And none your business adds. Solo leveling wasn't even the first of its kind, but a lot of people think many of these others that came first are copying it. And it really is about which um, It really is about what sticks.
Well, anime in general has, and it's across all forms of media as well. I mean, hell, look at Disney and Hollywood. It's copy my homework, but don't make it obvious you did so.
Um, a podcast I listened to actually talked about Hollywood, and at the end of 2024, pretty much up until the very end of the year, the highest grossing movies, the top 10, all but one were sequels. Which kind of ties into this point.
Yeah, and and then also they're trying to do live actions or reboots of stuff that we had years ago because they're out of ideas.
Yep.
And
And
at least with anime, the good part is if they want to do a reboot, they have a better chance of succeeding with it is because 9 times out of 10 they're rebooting anime that had anime original content. And if they actually try to reboot it to follow the original story that was given, they have a much better shot a lot of times of succeeding with it.
I would argue Brotherhood is a perfect example of that.
And Fruits Basket.
I was gonna say Fruits Basket 2019 was a much better version of, not that the original was bad, but the remake followed the story and was so much better.
And now Ross is throwing another question for us. Uh, question for everyone. I saw on X from Crunchyroll, what is an anime that you think is easy to marathon?
I haven't marathoned the anime in God knows how long.
Um, the last two that I marathoned, uh,
One Piece and Attack on Titan.
no, I haven't actually watched any of the anime for wow, I almost said the wrong one. For One Piece. Um, the last I realized the last three that I binge watched a bunch to catch up. One was Attack on Titan, one was Sword Art Online, and one was My Hero Academia. So I suppose the short answer to that is fun a fun shonen. Nunya's answer to that is the classics Yu Yu Hakusho, Trigun, Outlaw Star, and Cowboy Bebop.
I will have to give it to one of my suspense animes. Astra Lost in Space had a cliffhanger so good every episode, it killed me not having the next episode right then and there. So I would say that one would be very easy to marathon because it leaves you on the edge of your seat every single episode.
Um,
And
John Knight says he's been in an anime slump because he was watching Law and Order SVU, but got out of the slump by watching My Hero Academia. My Hero, honestly, binging chunks of My Hero was a good thing. Some seasons don't hold up week to week, in my opinion, but I do it anyway.
I would say I could binge DxD, but it's been a while. Like the last show I quote unquote binged was just to catch up was which one was it? Now I'm having to think. Because I did binge a show recently just to catch up.
I don't remember.
For me, I'd say like two shows that I could easily sit down and binge and just like lose time on. Realist Hero, which I feel is so underrated. It's such a better show than. I think that's one of the true sleepers out there. That it's such a niche audience paid attention to it, but it's so good. Like I know I've sat down and I've binged 10, 12 episodes in a sitting more than once. Also, recently, I binged, by the grace of the gods, 2 seasons in 2 days.
And Ross puts this question out there because he could never answer it because he wants more detail of the question itself. Can it be a short anime series or was it supposed to be long, like 12 or 24? Ross, I think that's subjective. Based on your wording, I'm gonna go with subjective, and for me personally, it was the thought process was, what did I watch more than 3 episodes in one sitting, or more than a couple episodes, or like binged an entire season in like 3-4 days. That's my interpretation, but
Ultimately, I think it also comes down to, is it a show that interests you?
yeah.
Everybody's got different interests. Shows that, obviously, with the three of us, are shows that we each like that the other two don't.
Like and I have never, you guys call my shonen overrated. I have never argued with that.
We've never argued about isekai being trash,
But
because 95% of it is.
and Ross is now saying, based on my interpretation, he chooses wise man grandchild.
I did rewatch that recently too.
That one just, the premise didn't interest me enough to watch it.
No,
I think Ross talked about it so much that I went back and rewatched it, and I'm like, it's good, but it's not. I wouldn't rate it too highly on my list of favorites. But that's just me.
Now I remember the anime I binged recently to catch up, and
Good
was
stuff.
glad I did. Slime. Slime is well worth it. I give full credit to Reincarnated as Slime. This was season 3. That is
Slime.
definitely a bingeable one.
One thing I'll say about Reincarnated as a Slime, I watched it episode to episode, and there were times where it was tough to keep up with. After season 1 dropped in its entirety, I went back and rewatched it in bigger chunks, and Slime is a better show to watch binging than it is weekly.
And Ross says, mentioned this earlier, but he saw Heart Eyes movie last night and said it was good and funny. I don't know anything about that. It is a Valentine's Day horror movie.
Also, I would give credit to DXC, but like I said, I haven't watched it in a while. But just going off of world building, those are my Slime and DXC are my top 2 shows for world building and character development.
I know you like the world building character development shows, Darren. I really think you should check out Realist Hero.
It's on the list, trust me. Because remember, that season you watched Realist Hero and I watched Genius Prince.
Yeah. I watched both, actually.
Oh, that's right, you did.
My How the Tables Have Turned. I don't know. I've got nothing I didn't watch either, but
Speaking of rabbit hole, wasn't there supposed to be an Alice in Wonderland anime? Or was there?
I think they're working on one.
it wouldn't surprise me if there is one.
I
I
knew they
mean,
were. I couldn't. The reason I said that because I knew one was going to be produced. I just couldn't remember if it had already been released or not. I don't
I don't
think I understand.
I don't know, but season, the last season of Ruby that I watched had very Alice in Wonderland vibes. Uh, they very much they did go to Wonderland, and it was called something different, but it was definitely an allegory for Alice in Wonderland.
Ross in the chat says coming this summer, Darren, as well as
Okay.
the Kana Dragon Maid movie.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see the series focus on Kana.
See, Dragon Maid is one that I tried. I really want. That's another one that I kind of lump in there as, if you will, disappointments, largely because I really wanted to enjoy them. I had such high hopes because people I talked to really, really enjoyed it, and I couldn't. It just was not for me.
How far did you make it?
3 episodes?
Did you meet Fafnir yet?
No idea.
No,
That's,
she three
I,
episodes. She didn't. I
I
could see
could
her being Fafnir.
exactly. That's what I was going for.
But it just, I, I think that one, it didn't grab me at all. And I was in a very similar vein of how disappointed I was with Call of the Night because of you guys. It just was not for me.
Uh,
But
Now here's a question for you. Have you watched an anime that at the time you watched it you thought it was really good, it was really popular. Time went by and you're like, let me revisit it to see if is still as good as it was the first time through. And then you realize it's not as good as you first thought.
well, and the only bias on that is when you go back and watch it, you've had time to accumulate more anime, expand your variety, expand your knowledge, develop your tastes more, and it kind of changes the way you enjoy stuff overall.
um I have not
And plus, I don't
uh
have time to rewatch stuff.
I tend to not rewatch stuff anymore. Um the closest thing would be Serial Experiments Lane hit very differently as as at an older age than it did when I was 20. But I think some of that is the technology aspect of it.
And the reason I brought that question up was I know that there is or I saw that there is a Bocchi the Rock season 2 that's supposed to be coming out soon.
That is
Mhm.
And,
correct.
and so I went back and started rewatching the first season because I like to refresh myself on a show that I enjoyed. And I'm finding it more cringeworthy the second time through than I did initially.
Bocchi was one that too much was going on and I just never got around to it.
Like I don't want to say it's bad, but like watching it a second time, it almost feels more cringy than it did the first time. Like the first time through, it was new. It was like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of interesting take on somebody with social anxiety, and you almost can get how they feel based on the animation and things of that nature. And then the second time through, it's like, I don't know if I can really deal with this again.
Um, and Ross is sharing Crunchyroll news. Uh, the latest remastered Fishman arc of One Piece crashed their servers.
Hmm.
I
Was that Chewbacca sound just Moe?
now
Oh no.
it's supposed to be now.
No. I'm about to say I'm reading stuff from a distance right now, so I thought it said Moe, and I'm like, huh?
No, it is in fact a typo. I've just gotten really my brain has gotten accustomed to reading
Rossisms.
reading the typos as intended, not as written. But I don't know.
Universal.
I mean, my 3D printers go, or my husband's 3D printer is going, but
Oh, speaking of 3D printer, just curious, has anyone seen the guy that's been printing all the Pokemon?
No.
no.
Okay, that guy is doing really good. Basically, he's got a 3D printer, and he's been 3D printing all the Pokemon from number one all the way up to currently we're in Gen 2, and I think we're near number 200. And also during the meantime, he's also 3D printed characters from the show and other various scenes. It's been really interesting to watch how these 3D printers work.
Yeah, and now I'm looking for something
Angela
that
is hiding.
I'm looking for something that should have been on my desk, and I don't. Oh, it's over there. Haha.
Success.
But for example, 3D printed Ember Celica for so that I could potentially do a low budget cosplay when I come down.
Oh, joy. I will cosplay eventually.
Angela will
Um,
make you cosplay.
No, I'm not going to force it because the mine's literally going to be a
don't
pair of
spoil it.
I just did.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
I just did. It's basically going to be a very casual version of one of my favorite characters ever.
Okay.
And she's going to make Darren dress as Nico.
No, no, I'm not.
No, make me dress. No, here's something worse. Dressing me as Krim.
She'll
It,
have you crossplay as Kurumi.
no.
Which Kurumi? There's multiple Kurumis at this point.
Nightmare.
Uh,
Your, your
and
favorite girl from Data Live.
and fun fact for you, Doug, from Ross. Uh, he has social anxiety, but never seen Bochi the Rock because not interested. And you know what? That's fair.
That's definitely fair.
I haven't seen Mochi just because no time.
Time
Wasn't one
what's
of the
that?
ones I was.
Time is going to be limited for me this week because I'm actually scheduled on a local that works Sunday through Wednesday or Sunday through Thursday. So I'd have Friday, Saturday off, but obviously I'm not going to be able to make the local tomorrow because I'll still be coming back from Jersey.
Oh boy. How does that work?
They're going to have to grab a conductor off the extra list to cover the local I'm scheduled to be on next week for tomorrow, and then I'll be on it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Sunday. I think
Ah,
think there's a chance I'll be making more money because I'm on the Jersey train and actually taking a train back.
and now Ross is just Ross is up there with these conversation points tonight. Props for that. Here's a serious topic because I keep seeing people talk about the new Smurfs movie trailer. My question for the topic is, should people stop trying to modernize decades old cartoon show and let them be classic and let them fade away, or continue to make them cringe and bad with modern day?
That's a good question. Because
Yeah.
there's shows that we grew up on that were really good back in the day, and you want to like continue to remember them, but it seems like every time they try to remake them, they just they they just aren't as good as the original. You see that with movies, you see that with TV shows. I mean, they tried to redo Beavis and Butthead, and that wasn't very good. They tried to, they made a, Dukes of Hazzard movie after years that the show was off. It wasn't the greatest. A
Char-
remake of the A-Team, not that good.
Charlie's Angels, not as good, not that good.
So I think you would have a better reception just by re-airing the old episodes of the original than trying to redo it.
I, I will counterpoint that a little bit and say, and I think what they're trying to do with the modernizing it is they're trying to target the younger current generation while keeping just enough nostalgia that the older generation will actually buy in.
And I just flipped over to the chat, and Ross, on that last comment, I think that's just going too far. A selfie Smurf? No, no.
I mean,
Snorks was better than Smurfs anyway, but that's just my opinion.
but I mean, like they're redoing. I mean, they're redoing all the Disney classics again. It's just like, how
You
many
know,
how many versions of these movies do we need?
exactly.
And
I mean,
Ross agrees with you, Doug. Snorks are better than Smurfs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross. Yes, Snorks were so much better than the Smurfs. Kind of
I
like
don't
I
know.
like Fraggle Rock better than the Muppets, which I know that's controversy, but
I
Fraggle
never,
Rock was good. It has its place. I don't know if I would say it's better than the Muppets.
I should rephrase that. It's better than some of the Muppet stuff. Because there were some excellent Muppet movies and shows that had come out, but I think for me, I liked Fraggle Rock better. I think I liked some of the characters better in Fraggle Rock than in the Smurfs, than in Muppets.
probably my two favorite characters from the Muppets was Statler and Waldorf, because you never knew what was going to come out of their mouths.
I like Gonzo, and I like Beaker.
God damn it.
Bunsen and Beaker.
Well, I cannot do a damn thing about that because I don't have the Twitch. I don't have the Twitch account info.
Yeah, we'll just ignore that.
Yep.
We're doing good. We got the bots coming in.
Yep, exactly.
Now, one thing that I've noticed since moving to Pennsylvania is I'm seeing a lot more conventions for this area coming across my like Facebook feed and things of that nature. I know coming up in May, there's the big con down Darren's Way that you guys are going to be going to. I also saw Anime Boston just announced a second musical guest.
Yep, I saw that as well. I was going to bring that up a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's the best I can do with that.
And it was, I think you pronounce it Reol, Reol.
Yep. Um, to circle back, Ross is say before we deep dive into convention stuff. Ross says, I say we let the classics be classic and just remember them, but if can keep their classicness in a modern take without too much modern, that would be fine. And he reiterates that by saying older Looney Tunes is better than today's Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
Um, nope, I am genuinely looking forward to going down to Anime-Zing. It will be
I'm looking forward to you coming down.
it's going to be um it's definitely going to be an experience. um I did notice the Anime Boston announcing a new guest. Real, I think also is how you pronounce that.
I've never heard of them. Apparently, they are like a YouTube musician star that's become quite popular.
Um they got among their discography, Reol is known for Edge, the ending theme to Rurouni Kenshin, um re-rescue of Blue Exorcist, Beyond the Show Saga, and more. So, but we'll see. We shall see about um, what Anime Boston chooses to do this year regarding the guests and press and all that.
I mean, this is going to be the first year in many, notwithstanding COVID, uh, that ACR has not made an appearance at Anime Boston,
Mm.
because
I
it's the same weekend as Animazement, and you'll be down in North Carolina with Darren.
Yep, and that was that was definitely a decision. Um, I'm looking forward to attending a convention outside of the Northeast Mid Atlantic.
And eventually I will attend a Northeast Mid-Atlantic convention.
Um, but yeah, my anime convention list for this year is going to be short. We are the special guest applications for Pop Cult go up March 1st. Pop Cult is a smaller anime convention that focuses more on the local celebrities, if you will, rather than the big industry guests. They try to keep it affordable and try to keep that small con feel and focus more on the things to do for the attendees. So there's that.
I think for me, CCE is up there because it's an hour away. It's a day trip. So if I have a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday off, it's an easy hour up, spend a few hours, come back home. Um, Kineticon, I would love to make because of some of the guests. Kineticon always brings in a lot of amazing voice acting guests, and not just English, but they one year they had Spanish speaking voice actors that they brought in. Um, I didn't make it to Kineticon last year, but I know after COVID, I think I went back to back years, and each year they had like 20 big name voice actors from the anime and video game world. So those are two. If things work out right, possibly Pop Cult, and that might be it for conventions. Everything is tentative to scheduling because the life of a railroader is not an easy thing to schedule around.
No, and I'll be doing 3 PAXs this year instead of 2 due to the nature of the family vacation.
So East Unplugged and
West.
oh,
Family vacation is a week in Seattle, followed by a week in Las Vegas. So the 4 adult children basically asked my in-laws if we could push the vacation back to time it so we are in Seattle for PAX West, and they agreed.
cool. Will that be your first PAX West attendance?
Yep, that will be my first time in Seattle.
Sweet. Have a great time.
Have fun.
But that is, but yeah, no. Traveling is one of my expensive hobbies. But, it is what it is. But anime conventions right now, it's looking like Anime-Zing, Pop Cult, because Pop Cult is close enough to home where even if we don't get the special guest stuff, I'll run around for that. I'll go for a day. I'll go for a day, say hi to people, do my thing.
And for Darren, conventions are
Huh? Sorry.
put
I'm
him
not.
up, put him on the
I
spot. And
wasn't.
he just,
I wasn't sleeping. I was responding to something.
oh no, I didn't say you were sleeping. I said I put you on the spot and you froze.
Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, I wasn't paying attention. But my conventions are Anime-Zing. I already went to Animate Raleigh this year. Raleigh SuperCon, of course, or GalaxyCon, whatever you want to call it. It's also going to be on the docket this year, I hope. Because I don't think I went last year because it wouldn't have been worth it for me to go by the time I got home. And then I'll see what else I can scramble up before the end of the year.
Definitely say stay tuned. When we have more concrete information about Pop Cult, we will be more than happy to share the news as to who, what, where, when, and why for the con.
Yep.
Obviously, it could be really neat if we did get the guest spot, if all 3 of us were able to go. If that's the case, then we definitely have to do a live show from the con. Possibly, if allowed, in panel form, because I've done it once at crap, I forgot the name of the con now. The 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 one that they had the Pennsylvania and New Jersey con.
PoochieCon.
PoochieCon. I did a live show once at PoochieCon right after the masquerade, and we didn't have a big turnout there. But it was kind of neat to do it in front of an audience. And I think it'd be kind of neat to have see if we get a bigger audience to do it again at a convention.
Agreed. Would definitely be fantastic.
And it would signify if it happens and we're able to get all of us there, it'd be the first time all 3 of us were in the same location at once.
Mm-hmm.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
You know, Darren, I'm not going to have another mistake to put me down there for Anime-Zing.
Yeah, unless your train decides to come a couple states over where it normally goes.
The closest that I get down there via train is Hagerstown, Maryland.
Okay.
Which ironically, I've had a thing come across my Facebook feed about a convention in Hagerstown. And it makes me think, how far from the hotel would that convention be? Would it be worth going if I got a Hagerstown train? Could I take an Uber to the convention? Thought the same thing about Altoona. If I got a train out to Altoona, because there's conventions that go on out there.
Let's be real. There's conventions almost anywhere.
Mhm. It's a matter of seeking them out.
Yep. And there's definitely resource lists out there for people who that people have put together for conventions. And I mean, there's conventions literally around the world. You just got to know where to look and have a budget.
That's the thing. The only restriction is time and money.
Yep. And we happened to be in London during MCM, and we didn't realize it until we saw cosplayers at a train station. And as cosplayers ourselves, we're like, there's got to be a convention going on. Lo and behold, we looked it up. Yup.
Did you try and talk to them?
We did compliment one of them on their cosplay. Don't remember what it was, just remembered it looked cool.
Now, one thing that we talked about last week as well, coming off of Katsucon, did you hear about the issues that had happened at Katsucon? And what was your opinions on some of the things that had happened?
Where to begin with this? I'll start with yes, I saw all of that news.
I saw a part of it.
Now, most of the issues that I saw really had nothing to do with the convention itself. It had to do with the buildings associated with the con.
There were two separate instances. There were two separate issues, both of which were the fault of the Gaylord. One, I would argue the more serious of which was that basically something from the kitchen had backed up and leaked to the point where they had to shut down Artist Alley for a day. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That is a safety, like like just from a health and safety perspective, that is a major problem. Like those kitchens should have been significantly better maintained. However, it was rumored that it was a sewage pipe. Before that, Katsu put out an official statement on their Facebook page explaining that it was something in the kitchens. But that's some serious business. And I hope those artists got some level of refund for the time for their loss of sales. Because for a lot of artists, Katsu's usually one of their biggest money-making events. Number two, the other issue was that there was apparently one of the floors of the hotel had bed bugs. Which is also a very serious problem considering how the Gaylord bills itself as a luxury brand and how expensive the hotel is. So yeah, my thought is this should not have happened at all. The hotel should have been significantly better maintained. But what did you guys discuss last week about that?
We just pretty much a lot of the same things that you had said about the issues at Kachukan, and the two main issues had nothing to do with the convention itself. The convention was a victim of its location. And Darren confirmed, having worked fast food, that there are certain smells in kitchen drains from stuff being dumped down that can smell like sewage. So it'd be easy to make the assumption of a sewage pipe first, where it was actually kitchen water drainage. And bed bugs obviously should not have happened, but we also know that it only takes one person that to bring them in, and they can spread like crazy. And that could have happened from a patron of the hotel a week prior, a month prior, the day before, or an attendee brought them. You just don't know. I mean, obviously, it was a really crappy thing that happened. I feel horrible for the artists. I don't know how much artwork was damaged by the water leakage. Obviously, we feel the same as you, as we hope that the artists were compensated for time lost, any damages, things of that nature. I think, Darren, you said that that should fall under the like insurance from Gaylord, because if it was their issue that caused it. But that pretty much was what we thought about it. And then we talked a little bit about issues that we've seen at conventions. I know Kachukan one year had the Attack of the Fire Nation. Anime Boston also had the fire alarm go off. We had a fire alarm go off at a convention in where was that? From Vermont. We had a convention in Vermont where the fire alarm went off during a panel that we were doing. That was towards the end of the day. So things happen. Just try to be prepared for anything and everything, really.
Yep. You gotta love it.
So now, random question that just came to mind.
Yep.
Because, that stuff happens. What has been some of your favorite moments of anime for this season? Maybe not maybe not a whole episode or a show, but maybe a moment in an episode that just really you enjoyed or just stuck out.
Hmm.
And this question goes out to the chat as well. Have there been a specific moment from a show that you've watched this season that you're like, man, that was just epic, or I didn't see that coming, or it just for some reason really stands out? And one of the ones for me, and Angela, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. But Apothecary Diary, the slap. I heard the laugh. You knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yep.
The slap followed by "I'll beat the bitch's ass."
Yep. I think that whole scene with the I wanted to call them sisters and they're not, they're cousins. That whole scene with the two of them and Mao Mao and, with Mao Mao and Jinshi just both watching like, oh God, what have we done? Like the interaction between the two of them where just that whole subplot becomes apparent. That was fantastic.
when she slapped her, my wife and I both laughed out loud to the point that we scared the cat. The cat was nice, comfortable, lying on the couch with us, enjoying family time. That slap happened. We laughed. He took off running.
I will say I did not see that coming.
Oh, neither did we. I think that's why why that memory was just like boom. That was great.
Um, Crap, there's one I actually want to share, but I can't because it's a spoiler. Something happened in the most recent episode of Guild Receptionist that stood out, and it was the cutest, and it was just like it was
Darren,
adorable, and
Darren,
I'm
you're
like,
behind on Guild Receptionist, right?
I don't want to spoil, so I'm going to leave that one alone.
I think
Uh,
I know what you're talking about, and it has to do with her and Jade.
Yep, but that's all I'm gonna say. Um, from the chat, we've got uh Ross's answer is episode 2 of Appraisal Skill, just the wholesome conversation the Ayn and Yuri had after she rescued and healed him from being killed by feeling like he wants to give up. She comforts him. Uh, his second is the way Mio reacting to her, to that first kiss in My Happy Marriage. And John Knight's answer is 100 Girlfriends dub moments make him laugh.
Some of the 100 Girlfriends moments are just they make you laugh, they make you cringe, they make you question why you continue watching it, but you go back.
And unrelated from the chat, John Knight says tomorrow is Bryce Pappenbrook's birthday. He is the voice of Eren in Attack on Titan, Kirito in Sword Art, Inosuke in Demon Slayer, Meliodas in Seven Deadly Sins. Well, happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday to Bryce Pappenbrook. Some great roles there. Not shows that I watch, but I know Angela has enjoyed multiple of those shows.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Overrated.
Don't care. Sword Art Online. I enjoyed Sword Art Online. I enjoyed Demon Slayer. I do need to go back and finish eventually, maybe. Attack on Titan. Well, I've rambled about that quite a bit.
You and
And
Mario still have to do your Attack on Titan gripe session.
well, we just have a lot of franchise stuff in common because we've had entire like Facebook conversations about not only that but the Yakuza video game franchise. And I will say he's the one that actually pointed out to me that a Japanese band I like dropped a new album recently. So I gotta give him credit for the fact that I played it. And Ross says next season of anime will only be half lift of his shoulders because he'll only be watching 8 shows.
I'm not sure what
Uh,
because I'm not home. I can't really pull up multiple like apps on my phone, so
for
I don't know how it's gonna
uh,
screw up with everything. But
as of right now, I've got 3 season 2s lined up for next season plus Anne Shirley. Because that is like a major childhood thing for me. And I am so curious to see. I'm actually very curious to see what they do with that.
I think Killing Slimes for 300 Years season 2 is coming out next season. If that's dropping, then that's one I'm gonna watch. I forget what else is coming out.
But next spring, we've got Kaiju 8 Season 2, Windbreaker Season 2, Go Go Loser Ranger Season 2. And
I think
all of
there's a
those,
season 2 of Vending Machine coming out soon.
um, all of those were quite enjoyable for me. Go. The app, my anime list is great, except when it's not.
I think that's just you could say the same thing on all of technology. It's great, except when it's not.
Yeah. Uh, and Ross says he's on the fence because he never read Anne of Green Gables before in his life. Uh, it's basically a girl's coming of age story. It's um, written by a Canadian author. Like the whole she basically goes through being like it starts when she's like 12, goes through the whole getting adopted, making going to school, making friends, and that standard coming of age stuff, and the hijinks and the silliness that goes with it.
So Angela, on a daily basis.
Let's just say it was a story that it was a story that I read for the first time when I was about 9 or 10, and it totally clicked. And I have the set of the set of paperbacks is very well worn, has survived every move. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing what Japan does with it. I hope I hope it's actually done well. I will actually be really disappointed if it's not.
Um, so do you think that Apothecary Diaries will continue for a season 3 after this, or do you think season 2 will
Um,
end it?
Season 2 is 24 episodes. So we'll see.
I've been loving it, and in some countries, Apothecary Diaries is on Netflix. It is not in the U.S., but it's a show that I want to introduce my mother to. I think my mom would like it. I think my mom and sister would like it. And they're not anime people at all, but I think they would enjoy it. That's one reason why I'm like, I feel like Apothecary Diaries has the potential to be one of those like strong stick around ability because it is so good.
Yep.
And Ross in the chat's got a question for Angela, saying, if you have or have not, before the show ends, last question for Angela. If you have or have not, what's your opinion on the live action trailer of How to Train Your Dragon?
Um okay. That is a franchise I never got into. That said, I have seen the trailer. The trailer looks fantastic from just from a visual standpoint. It looks amazing. But it's a movie that is not for me.
And I know, Angela, you enjoy the Trash Chase podcast like I do.
Yeah, when at times, yes.
Did you see that they did a like a 5-year review podcast recently where they had random topics in Trash Cancun that they pulled out and had to compare uh, their thoughts to what they thought about the subjects now
Oh
as opposed
God.
to when they first moved to Japan.
Oh God, no, I missed that.
I think that was last week's or
Um, I recently caught the Australian special.
okay, I think that came out the week before the Australian special. So that it was interesting to hear their opinions of different subjects and different topics of Japan culture and
Yep.
having lived there for 5 years.
Oh yeah.
And also, I caught wind of a new podcast that's come out recently, um, and a gaming YouTuber that I've watched on and off for a while by the name of Valkyrae is one of the two hosts of it. I don't know if you know Valkyrae or not. I became aware of her around the same time as Pokimane, Corpse, from all the Among Us videos, Disguised Toast, like Kuno, Jacksepticeye, so a lot of those YouTubers and Twitch streamers.
I know the name. I've never seen their content.
But Valkyrae and another girl recently started a podcast called Press Escape, where they had a interview with Iron Mouse, and then I just recently saw that Valkyrae was in Japan and had an interview with Connor and Garnt at the Trash Day Studios.
Nice.
So that might be something entertaining for you to check out. Um, if
Definitely worth looking into.
Now, we enjoy promoting other people and stuff like that. Check out Press Escape on YouTube. Of course, we talk about Trash Chase all the time. If you want, let them know that we'd love to have them on the show. Say, we are to them from us, and you'd love to see them on our show, and because I'd love to talk to all of them.
Yeah, no, and on that note, for those of you who are not from the areas that we are, if you would like to see us at a convention, please, please, please let us know what the convention is, where, when, and see what you can do. Because we would love to be able to attend more conventions, but there's these things called time and money. But we want to be where our fans are at, so.
Exactly.
And we're going to end the night on a very silly note because look at what time it is. Ross mentioned this kind of at the beginning, but he's now confirming that there is confirmed a sequel in development for the movie White Chicks. White Chicks 2 confirmed. Why? But why?
Yeah, why? How did you know?
And that is where we're going to end that. I think is where we're going to call it. Because I got nothing that beats that.
We want to thank everybody again for tuning in. Thank you to all of you awesome people who watch us live here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Thank you to the podcast listeners. Thank you to our sponsors, Home Circle Media and Triple S Lawn Care. Until next week, next Sunday, it's going to be hit or miss on if I'm home in time for the show, because I will be on the local. If it's a 12-hour day, I'll be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So I may not be here for the start of the show. I'll let everybody know when I know what time I'm getting out of work. If not, you get more fun of Angela and Darren.
And potentially, if I can convince friends to join us, special guests. Who knows?
Never know with us. We always pull somebody out of thin air to come on.
But on that note, stay happy, stay healthy, take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good night, everyone.